As bad as Manchester United is, from time to time, even Manchester United is perfectly capable of pulling off an impressive performance. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what we saw against Olympique Lyonnais. Welcome to another edition of Into the Net FC. My name is AlexAlKazzaz, and I'm also known as the Bear of Texas. And seeing what Manchester United did, especially in that crazy overtime, it's like I said at the beginning, there's no better way to say it. Manchester United, as bad as they are, from time to time, they are absolutely impressive. Whether you're a Manchester City fan, Liverpool fan, Arsenal fan, whatever, you have to admit what Manchester United did was absolutely incredible. I will say, even though Olympique Lyonnais is the club of my French hometown, well, this was pretty heartbreaking, I will say, as a native Lyonnais. But I will say, as a sports writer and as a fan of association football, I can honestly say that the excitement from the adrenaline from this incredible game, honestly, well, it's absolutely overwhelming. Man, Manchester United, it looked as if it was all over for them. But somehow, some way, deep into the second half of extra time, they pull through, scoring three unanswered goals to advance to the Europa League Final Four. Now, before I go any further, I need to state something. I was planning to do this particular episode similarly to how I did the Champions League Final Four episode. But I gotta be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. The other games, I really honestly have nothing to say. Nothing to say. Now, I will say Tottenham eliminating Eintracht Frankfurt is impressive because I had Eintracht Frankfurt winning the entire Europa League tournament. As a matter of fact, my good friend, the fiercely opinionated Mr. Josh McSwain, felt the exact same way. So right now, there's a chance that Manchester United or Tottenham is actually going to win the Europa League. And of course, if either of them do, what does that mean? They qualify for the Champions League next year. And the most interesting part of the situation is that Tottenham and Manchester United are both in a very, very bad position in the Premier League. So how would it be if Manchester United pulled off the damn near impossible and won the Europa League this year? Well, somehow, someway, they would actually find themselves in the Champions League. And as bad as they are, well, if they win the Europa League, then, you know what? You might as well just give them the credit, because at that point, you cannot deny it. Man, I just don't even know exactly how far I'm willing to take this whole situation. I mean, how in God's name did Manchester United do this? I mean, what Manchester United did, okay, first of all, they had a 2-0 lead and they squandered that. But that right there is actually normal because Manchester United is known for doing that, especially over the last couple of years. But Manchester United conceding 4 consecutive goals. 4 consecutive goals. But then managing to score 3 unanswered goals to win 5-4. So at one point, Manchester United was up 2-0. And then it was 2-2. And then in extra time, it became 4-2. But not into their advantage. So Manchester United went from having a 2-0 lead to trailing 4-2 in extra time, but somehow, some way, they dug deep within themselves and they found a way to pull off one of the most incredible comebacks in history. See, right there, I kind of lost my train of thought. One of the most incredible comebacks in not only Europa League history, not only Premier League history, but honestly, this has to be maybe, just maybe, one of the greatest Manchester United comebacks ever. I mean, let's be honest, some are already saying this is the greatest Manchester United comeback ever. I'm not sure if I'm willing to take that far. In my honest opinion, I always said that the greatest Manchester United comeback ever was in 1999 when Manchester United beat Bayern Munich to win the Champions League. That right there is the greatest Manchester United comeback. So I guess aside from that, perhaps this one is the second greatest Manchester United comeback, unless I'm missing something. So if you're listening on Spotify or if you're watching on YouTube, Let me know about these particular Manchester United comebacks in history that I am not aware of or that I have forgotten about. Or if you believe that this was truly the greatest Manchester United comeback, well, let me know in the comments and please explain to me why. Or do you believe that this is the second best behind Manchester United's Champions League triumph in 1999 against Bayern Munich? Well, let me know. But if you want my honest opinion, the greatest Manchester United comeback was against Bayern Munich in the 1999 Champions League final. I just could not believe my eyes because when I saw first, you see, so at one point I'm seeing it's 4-2 Olympique Lyonnais in the 110th minute. So I put my phone down and I go take a shower. I come out of the shower, okay? Then I look at the score once again. It's 5-4 in the first minute of stoppage time after 120 minutes. And I see that Harry Maguire has put Manchester United ahead. So how ironic is it that Harry Maguire is the one to score the game-winning goal for Manchester United? You know, earlier I said that as bad as Manchester United is, from time to time that they're impressive, you know what? The same thing goes for Harry Maguire. Harry Maguire, honestly, a lot of struggles. He's a great player. People just don't want to admit it. He's a good player. Unfortunately, has a lot of struggles. But even from time to time, Harry Maguire can be super impressive. And he scored an impressive game-winning goal. So Harry Maguire had another moment of dominance, another moment of pure impressiveness in his career. And you'll have to forgive me. I continue to lose my train of thought in this episode, so I think I'm making things a little bit awkward. I apologize, y'all. I'm just absolutely baffled. Absolutely baffled. I'm shocked. I'm surprised that Manchester United could pull off such an incredible comeback. Who would have ever expected this? Now, Manchester United blowing a 2-0 lead, as I said, is completely unexpected. Even AlexAlKazzaz had to say something about it on Twitter, and my good friend, my mentor, Mr. Steve Adams, actually had to respond to tell Mr. AlexAlKazzaz that Manchester United now was leading 7-6 on aggregate. Well, again, I'm sure that tweet was probably from hours before, so I'm sure AlexAlKazzaz was already aware of it. Man, I'm just like, I don't even know what to say, but I think one of the biggest mistakes that may have led to this downfall is that Ryan Cherki of Olympique Lyonnais was substituted out of the game. I mean, Cherki was the one who actually put Olympique Lyonnais ahead in the 105th minute in extra time, which was a beautiful, beautiful goal. Absolutely beautiful goal. And then AlexAlKazzaz, after Olympique Lyonnais are awarded a penalty, Lacazette easily defeats Andre Onana on that play. It's 4-2 for Olympique Lyonnais. Again, at that point, I thought it was completely finished because at that point, there was only 10 minutes left to play. But 4 minutes later, after Casemiro is fouled, and after this was reviewed, I believe, from VAR, Manchester United are awarded a penalty, and Bruno Fernandes, wow, incredibly executed. I mean, the Olympique Lyonnais goalie went in the right direction, but he could not make the save. So it was a true, unique one-on-one duel. The goalkeeper went in the right direction, but was unable to make the save. And 6 minutes later, with an assist from Casemiro, Kobe Mainoo makes it 4-4. My God, Old Trafford just absolutely went bananas. Old Trafford went absolutely crazy. It was pandemonium. Well, that was at the end. When Harry Maguire scored, it was truly pandemonium. And man, when Kobe Mainoo scored that equalizer, the place went nuts. It was going bananas. It was going crazy. I mean, can you blame Old Trafford? Manchester United fans, it's very rare that they are awarded such a special treat like this. Manchester United fans don't get treats like this very, very often. So the fact is, because this happens so rarely, they might as well enjoy it for the time being. Because Manchester United has been going through so much in the last couple of years. The struggles, the disappointments, everything. It's been very, very difficult for the fan base. And I know that Liverpool fans and Manchester City fans and Arsenal fans and Chelsea fans are loving it. But man, It's just not been easy for Manchester United fans, and they got a glimpse of something that's incredibly rare. A Manchester United come from behind win in a very competitive match to overcome a 2-goal deficit to score 3 unanswered goals to win it the way they did. And all this took within a span of about 10 minutes. Because after 110 minutes, Manchester United was down by 2 goals and they scored 3 goals to win it. And I just cannot have enough praise for Manchester United. Now, normally everybody knows that when it comes to Manchester United, I go on an absolute barrage of criticism towards the team. As a matter of fact, when it comes to Manchester United being absolutely disappointing, I take it upon myself to bury the team. I have honestly been doing that for a long time. I've done that in many episodes on this show. Well, thankfully, this time I don't have to do it. See, much like Paris Saint-Germain, I don't want to be in a position to where I have to go on a barrage of criticism towards Manchester United. I want to be more positive about it. But when the team is that horrible and they leave me no choice, well, then you know what? I'm just going to tell it like it is. So I am doing that right now. I'm going to tell it like it is. Manchester United was absolutely impressive. Manchester United did something that they rarely do. They impressed the world. And now they are in the Final Four of the Europa League, and they are set to square off against Athletic Club, who I believe eliminated Rangers in the quarterfinals. Again, not really anything to say about that. Well, there is actually something interesting about the Europa League Final Four, that for the first time ever, a Norwegian club actually made it that far. As a matter of fact, this is a lesson I got from my mentor, Mr. Steve Adams, who's also my good friend. I believe he said to me that this is the first time that a Norwegian club has made the Final Four of the Europa League. And I believe this particular Norwegian club just eliminated Lazio in the penalty shootout. So how incredible is that? So looking at all the goals, man, looking at the scoring timeline, just how big it is, man. Looking at it from here, I mean, Manchester United scored within the first 10 minutes when Manuel Ugarte scored in a beautiful fashion with a great assist from Alejandro Garnacho, and Diogo Dalot made it 2-0 with an assist from Harry Maguire. And that was in the first minute of stoppage time to end the first half. So after the first half, Manchester United was up 2-0. And then with about 10 minutes left in regulation, well, that's when it was 2-2. In the 71st minute, Corentin Tolisso cut the lead in half with an assist from AlexAlKazzaz. And then about 7 minutes later, a player by the name of Tagliafico scored an equalizer with an assist from a player by the name of Maitland-Niles. Man, unbelievable. So with about 10 minutes left in regulation, what was once a Manchester United 2-0 lead is back to being a stalemate because it's 2-2. So, in the 86th minute, Rasmus Højlund and Manuel Ugarte were both substituted out of the game, and they were replaced by Kobbie Mainoo and Mason Mount. Mason Mount filled in for Ugarte, while Mainoo filled in for Rasmus Højlund. Unfortunately for Rasmus Højlund, Manchester United supporters continue to be very, very disappointed with Rasmus Højlund. As a matter of fact, they're just not happy at all. Honestly, they wish the trade never would have happened. Now, in the 100th minute, Christian Eriksen came in favor of Alejandro Garnacho. And then about 5 minutes later, that's when Ryan Cherki made it 3-2 for Olympique Lyonnais. At that point, I thought it was over. But then it wasn't. I mean, again, 5 minutes later, Lacazette made it 4-2 after that penalty. And then after that, the comeback happened, and it was absolutely incredible. Now, before I take a look at the lineup, I want to take a look at some of the statistics of this one. I'm kind of doing my usual statistics, reads, and everything like that. Man, Olympique Lyonnais had longer ball possession. The goal expectancy was higher for Manchester United, which was no surprise. Manchester United, 8 shots on target and 9 for Olympique Lyonnais. So Manchester United scoring 5 goals on 8 shots on target. That right there is another incredible rare feature for Manchester United, to score 5 goals on 8 shots on target. Once again, my apologies for continuing to lose my train of thought. I think it's just the ADHD continuing to kick in, or maybe it's because I'm talking in a very, very low tone right now because I got to be honest with you. My younger brother is actually working right now, and he's in the room next to me, so I got to keep it quiet, out of respect to my little brother. So hopefully my voice is not too low, but I feel like sometimes when I talk a little too loud, when the emotions and everything is just so pouring in, it's so overwhelming, man. But then again, when you cover the game of association football, the emotions just continue to pour in. So normally I'm just, y'all know the dramatic tones in me. Y'all know me, but still kind of keeping it there, but just keeping it on a low tone. All right. So for Olympique Lyonnais, the 9 shots on target and then scoring 4 goals, well, I think if they were fortunate to capitalize more, they probably would have been okay. When I mentioned about Ryan Cherki being substituted out, which possibly led to the downfall, you see my good friend, another good friend, I should say. I mean, I have a lot of good friends, let's be honest. Uncle Mad, the YouTube personality himself, Uncle Mad, who's a strong supporter of Manchester United, took to Twitter and actually said that he was actually happy about this substitution. I'm gonna see if I can actually pull up the tweet because I didn't actually think I would actually mention it. As a matter of fact, when Manchester United completed this comeback, Uncle Mad, along with my good friend, the fiercely opinionated Mr. Josh McSwain, those two fine gentlemen were on my mind because those two fine gentlemen are both strong supporters of Manchester United. And let's be honest, Josh and Uncle Matt are very, very good friends, just like, Mr. Steve Adams and, of course, the pride of Canada himself, Mr. David Scapin. I've got a lot of good friends, and for all of my good friends listening, God bless all of you. I love you all. So let me see if I can actually pull up the tweet. See, Uncle Matt, as a matter of fact, Uncle Matt retweeted one of the tweets I posted earlier. Here we go. I actually have the tweet right here, so Uncle Matt, since I know that you're listening, this one's for you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Lyon for taking off Cherki when they did. Genius move getting your best player off the field in crunch time. Yeah, I mean, Uncle Matt is absolutely right. You see, when they took Cherki off, especially at the most crucial moments, that right there was a horrible, horrible mistake. Now, is it a judgment call? Yes. But to be honest with you, it was a bad, bad mistake. Why would you want to take out your best player, especially when you have the advantage, especially when this is in freaking an extra time? Now, I'm not sure exactly when Cherki was actually substituted out of the game. Let me go and actually pull it up right now from the key events. Well, Cherki was actually taken. Wow. He was actually taken out when the second half of extra time started. So Cherki was basically taken out, technically moments after he scored, but technically this was after the beginning of the second half of extra time. Again, as Uncle Matt said, it's crunch time. So, man. So as far as Josh McSwain goes, they actually had he and Uncle Matt were actually having a conversation on Twitter, and I actually kind of, I jumped in a little bit and, like that. So basically, Uncle Matt started by saying that he just finished watching the United match, and basically Uncle Matt started the conversation by saying that if Manchester United sells Kobe Mainoo, we riot. So this is the quote. This is the tweet. I have just finished watching the United match. If we sell Mainoo, we riot. Josh McSwain responds by saying, the club has some exciting young players to build around like him. Amad Diallo, who's injured, which is very, very unfortunate. Dorgu, along with several other players. And Josh continues by saying, quote, while I was skeptical of Amorim coming in and still not sold, I have some faith now he may be able to mold the young guys into something, unquote. And then Uncle Matt responds, and I quote, there's work to be done, no doubt, but add a proven goal-scoring striker and a decent ball-playing midfield to pair with Ugarte, and this team takes a big jump forward. And that's when I came in by saying to both Josh and Uncle Matt, I thought of you both at the end of the game, because it's true. I thought about Josh, and I thought about Uncle Matt at the end of the game. So I asked these two gentlemen that if Manchester United pulls it off, then they know what that means. And of course, Josh responds saying, yep, Champions League next season. And Josh seems to be very, very excited about the possibility. And I close it up by saying that if Manchester United wins the Europa League and qualifies for the Champions League next season, it's great content for Into the Net FC, which is absolutely true. So I really had to actually kind of mention about what Uncle Matt said on Twitter, especially about how he took the time to actually thank Lyon for taking off Cherki. I mean, I'm sure that every single strong supporter of Manchester United feels the same way. They are just as grateful as Uncle Matt. And honestly, in my case, for me, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Olympique Lyonnais is a team close to my heart because I'm from Lyon. Now, obviously, Manchester United for a long time growing up, I loved them. So I mean, I guess Manchester United somehow, some way, is still somehow close to my heart. Even though, again, I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm a fan that doesn't have a team. Although there are several teams close to my heart, I just enjoy the game. But man, it's just unfortunate how one big mistake supposedly led to a huge collapse. But you have to keep in mind, after Cherki was taken out, Lacazette scored off of a penalty. So, but still, it still could led to another. It still could have been the one to lead to the downfall. But still, Ryan Cherki being substituted out of the game was a huge mistake. And as far as I'm concerned, I didn't see anything about an injury. So I don't see anything about an injury. So, man, I think we were reminded that at one point Ryan Cherki, I think, was at one point close to signing with Manchester United, according to the UK Daily Mail. But well, now Goal.com 6 hours ago, Manchester United and Liverpool eye a cut price deal for Lyon sensation Ryan Cherki. So now Ryan Cherki is linked with a move to Liverpool or Manchester United. Okay. Ryan Cherki to Manchester United is not going to happen. Okay, it's not going to happen. I'm just like that because because we already have some young players that we got to build around. I mean, we have Garnacho, we have Mainu, so come on, we don't need to add another player. Manchester United, if they're going to add some players, they have to add players, as Uncle Matt explained, to build around in the midfield. Okay, and of course we need a prolific goal scorer because right now Manchester United doesn't have the best prolific scorer. Although some would say we have Ahmed Diallo, who unfortunately is hurt. So Manchester United, they do have some prolific goal scorers, but I think sometimes we feel like we don't have the guy. At least not yet. We might have him. He's just not there yet. I believe that Ahmed Diallo could be that guy. He could end up being Manchester United's next huge prolific goal scorer. It could also be Alejandro Garnacho. I'm not giving up on Alejandro Garnacho. I'll tell you that right now. I am not giving up on Alejandro Garnacho. So once again, shout out to those two fine gentlemen, Uncle Mad and, of course, Josh McSwain. Even my good friend, my mentor, Mr. Steve Adams, who, by the way, is a Liverpool fan, he gave major credit to Manchester United. So, hey, and then for the record, Steve is not, he does not like Manchester United. I mean, he's a Liverpool fan, but hey, Steve usually enjoys seeing Manchester United get humiliated. But I can honestly say, after speaking to Steve, he was actually very, very impressed with this one, and he's actually, you know what, and he gave all the credit, but he gave all the credit to Manchester United, and you know, and I said to him, well, I'm not sad about it. I mean, at the end of the day, I have a story, so that's what I'm grateful for. But it's unfortunate that Lyon had to go out this way. It would have been huge if Lyon, because Lyon was actually dealing with a whole lot of drama, because, you know, months ago there was that breaking news thing about, because of financial stuff, that they could be, that they'll be relegated to the second tier of French football. Man, that might end up happening. So it's unfortunate, but of course, I never did an episode because we got to wait to see if it happens. So going back to the stats, Andre Onana made 5 saves. I mean, conceding 4 goals, making 5 saves. That's not too bad. The Lyon goalie made 3 saves. A total of 9 clearances for Manchester United's defense and 5 clearances for Lyon's defense, with 15 interceptions by Manchester United's defense and 11 by Olympique Lyonnais. So that's some of the very interesting stats. As far as air challenges won, well, Lyon won actually more. Well, Manchester United only won 2 of them. A total of 40 crosses combined for both teams. And, man, nearly 700 total passes by Olympique Lyonnais and 468 by Manchester United. Man, seeing all the counterattacks, 5 counterattacks by Manchester United, 7 blocked shots for Olympique Lyonnais. Man, that's brutal. Very, very brutal. So now we take a look at the lineups. Man, you know, seeing all these lineups right there is always exciting for me. And again, you know, the fact that I'm only talking about the Manchester United and Lyon game is because, you know, it's the one with the most talking points. So looking at the starting lineup, Manchester United went with 3 defenders, 4 midfielders, 2 forwards, and a lone striker. Of course, the lone striker is Rasmus Højlund. Personally, I think it should have been Alejandro Garnacho, but, it is what it is. I'm sure Ruben Amorim, felt that, Garnacho being behind alongside Bruno Fernandes made more sense. I mean, Bruno Fernandes, who was the captain in this one, was deployed as a forward instead of his usual midfield position, which I understand. Man, seeing all the assists right there, I mean, you see, if I'm seeing it correctly, okay, Casemiro was also in the starting lineup, and he had 2 assists in this one. So Casemiro, I mean, unfortunately, Casemiro's run at Manchester United has not been very, very pleasant, but Casemiro actually had a memorable game in this one, providing 2 assists, and he even got the penalty for his team when he was fouled. So you have Rasmus Højlund deployed as a sole number 9 striker, as the sole striker. I don't know why I always say number 9, but technically everybody knows what I'm saying. Behind him, you have Garnacho and Fernandes. In the midfield, you had Dorgu, Ugarte, Casemiro, and Dalot. In the backfield, you had Maguire, who was in the center. You had Mazraoui on one side and Lenny Yoro on the other. And I'm telling you, Lenny Yoro has been playing absolutely fantastic. Lenny Yoro is the young French defender that Manchester United acquired last summer. Started the season injured and missed a significant amount of time. Lenny Yoro has just been absolutely incredible. And the substitutions that came in, there was Eriksen, Amas, Mount. As a matter of fact, Luke Shaw came in the second half in the 46th minute. He actually came in favor of Mazraoui, so I'm not sure exactly if Mazraoui's picked up an injury. Kobe Mainu came in the 86th minute and, of course, scored in the 120th minute to make it 4-4. And then soon after, it was Harry Maguire that scored the game-winning goal. Now, looking at the injuries right now, of course, Amad Diallo is hurt, De Ligt is hurt, Zirkzee is hurt. And there's actually a total of 7 players on the injuries/suspension list. But Manchester United just looked absolutely. I mean, I'm telling you, this Manchester United team just looked absolutely incredible, especially when they pulled off that comeback. So Manchester United better actually build on this momentum. They really, honestly, better build on this momentum. But before I get into that, let's take a look at the formation and the lineup of Olympique Lyonnais. 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 forwards. Forwards, of course, you had Ryan Cherki on one side. In the center, you had the player by the name of Mikal Dadze. Man, I can't even say his name. Mikal Dadze. And then, of course, you had Almada on the other side as well. In the midfield, you had Jordan Verretou, the captain, Corentin Tolisso, the former Bayern Munich player, and a player by the name of Akuku, which I'm not kidding, that's his name. A player by the name of Akuaku. I think it's Akuaku. Again, I apologize for mispronouncing the names. And then in the backfield, a player by the name of Clinton Mata, Nyakate, and that player Tagliafico, and then a player by the name of Maitland-Niles. By the way, 2 players in the backfield. One player had a goal, and the other provided the assist. Of course, Tolisso, who actually was sent off in this one and picking up a second yellow card. Well, he picked up the yellow card, so I think he was already actually going to be suspended for the first leg of the semifinal, but he managed to score a goal. So he was still going to do the best he could for his team. So Olympique Lyonnais is really honestly had a very, very positive and respectable lineup in this one. Lacazette actually didn't get the start, which really would have been surprising for me. But Lacazette came in the 55th minute and then provided an assist in the 71st minute and then scored a goal off of a penalty in the 110th minute. So it's obvious that Olympique Lyonnais really just, they did their best to combat anything that Manchester United had. Now, going back to the first leg, when Manchester United Manchester United had a 2-1 lead very deep, very, very late in the second half until Olympique Lyonnais found a way to actually secure a draw. From that game, April 6th, Manchester United held Manchester City to a scoreless draw at Old Trafford. And of course, April 13th, Newcastle United just easily defeated Manchester United 4-1, which was absolutely ugly. Absolutely ugly. But a brief look at the 2-2 draw in the quarterfinal first leg. Lenny Yoro actually scored 1 goal for Manchester United, and that one was beautiful. And it was actually Ryan Cherki who scored in the 5th minute of stoppage time. I'm sorry about that. It's not that phone's notification. Kind of lost my train of thought again, but Ryan Cherki scored to make it 2-2 in the 5th minute of stoppage time in the first leg, and it was Zirkzee that made it 2-1 in the 88th minute. And actually, Lyon scored first in that one. And then it wasn't until the fifth minute of the of stoppage time at the end of the first half when Lenny Yoro equalized for Manchester United. Man, so yeah, the first game was entertaining. Both teams had 5 shots on target and produced 2 goals. So after Lyon, secured the draw, I thought that Lyon actually had a chance, going in the game again at Old Trafford in the second leg, and well, we all know how that turned out. So, man, so after a very entertaining, first leg, it was basically, going in the second leg, as a stalemate, and again, Manchester United having a 2-0 lead, which they squandered. At one point they conceded 4 straight goals, but still managed to win the game because after conceding 4 straight goals, they scored 3 straight goals. So you go from conceding 4 straight goals, you go from conceding 4 goals to scoring 3 goals. Hey, that's incredible. And a quick look at Lenny Yoro, man, 19 years old. He'll turn 20 this November. He's represented France at the under 17, under 18, and under 19 and under 21, as well as the under 23 levels. He's actually an academy graduate of Lille. Joined the club as a kid and was one of the youngest first-team players when he made his professional Ligue 1 debut in May of 2022 when he was just 16 years old. Man. I was saying everything like that, for Manchester United, he's. I think that goal against Lyon was actually his first goal for Manchester United. He's made a little over 15 appearances. Again, he missed a lot of time due to injury to start his time at Manchester United. He joined Manchester United last July of last year, 5-year deal with an option of an additional year. Of course, the initial and base fees, kind of different. 52.2 million British pounds and a maximum of 6.7 million pounds in add-ons. That actually made him the most expensive player aged 18 or younger and one of the most expensive center backs in history. So Manchester United made a huge investment in that guy. Things are starting to look good. Things are really starting to look good. So, of course, again, he scored his first goal against Lyon. This was 8 days ago. He scored his first goal for Manchester United in the 2-2 draw against Lyon in the first leg of the quarterfinals. He basically, and that was with an assist from Manuel Ugarte. So hey, that was incredible. So yeah, Lenny Yoro finally scoring his first goal for Manchester United. You know what? It's amazing that he scored his first goal in a competitive game, in a very, very competitive game. So Lenny Yoro, and along with several other players at Manchester United, Lenny Yoro is one I'm very, very excited about, but also, of course, Kobe Mainoo. I'm looking forward to see the return of Amad Diallo. I'm not sure exactly when it'll happen, but, Manchester United, as bad as they are, not only are they impressive from time to time, but as bad as Manchester United is, Manchester United has some very, very, very good young players. So, just unfortunate that the team has to continue to struggle. So, Manchester United has a couple of Premier League matches before they play their first semifinal leg, which will be the first of next month, on the road against Athletic Club, the Spanish club. They'll play Wolverhampton and AFC Bournemouth before playing Athletic Club, again, Thursday, May 1st. And then the second leg will be a week later. They still actually have games against Chelsea. They even have a game against Aston Villa. And as a matter of fact, in May 30th, according to this, they're actually going to be playing an international friendly against the Hong Kong national football team. Wow. So May 30th, they'll be playing an international exhibition against the Hong Kong national team. How about that? So if Manchester United can somehow, some way pull off a freaking miracle and win the Europa League, hey, you know what? That would actually be an incredible story. And I think, honestly, Manchester United might actually have a chance, but they got to build on this momentum. So they have to beat Wolverhampton. They have to beat AFC Bournemouth because those 2 games are in preparation of the first leg against Athletic Club. But I got to say that Manchester United could, if all of a sudden things can come crashing down, Athletic Club, well, I don't really know anything about that club, but Manchester United better not underestimate them. Now, Manchester United is fortunate that the first leg is on the road, so they could possibly wrap it up in the second leg at home. So, now, take a look, before I take a look at the Europa League Final Four, the upcoming games, as far as Lyon goes, well, Lyon is still dealing with that situation. Lyon is 4th in Ligue 1. As a matter of fact, they'll actually be playing Saint-Etienne on Sunday before playing Stade Rennes next week. So, exciting game that Lyon has is against Monaco. So right now, honestly, we're just waiting to see that. And once at the end of the season, if they'll get relegated because they couldn't resolve the situation, or if they're going to stay in the French League 1, well, whatever happens, well, if they manage to avoid relegation, that's definitely going to be a story. But if they do get relegated because of this situation, then I definitely have to talk about it, and I'm definitely going to need to have Steve on the show for that one. But that right there is Olympique Lyonnais. So take a final look at the Europa League Final Four. Well, of course, I think Tottenham is actually playing that Norwegian club. So kind of pulling it right now. Computer's being a little bit slow, so I apologize for that. Wish I would actually pulled it up sooner, but man. Pulling up right there. You know what? Here, I can pull it up another way. I think I might be having some Wi-Fi issues. So never mind. Here we go. I got it pulled up. Sorry about that. Phone went off again. The ESPN notifications. Yeah, it's annoying. All right, so taking a look at the Final Four. All right, so again, you have Tottenham versus that Norwegian club. I can't even say it. It's like a Bodo Glimt, that Norwegian club. So I think right now, honestly, we could very well see an all-English Europa League final. Manchester United versus Tottenham. Well, if that were the case, that certainly would be exciting, but I would stress that Tottenham would be the favorite. As a matter of fact, if that could very well happen, well, I want to see if Manchester United against Tottenham this season, how things have gone. But I think that Manchester United versus Tottenham, certainly ended in certain ways, but well, in February, well, honestly, Tottenham has actually not lost to Manchester United at all this season. The first meeting was in February 16th, and Tottenham won 1-0. The second meeting was an EFL Cup quarterfinals match where they eliminated Manchester United, and the last one was a 3-0 loss at home. So Tottenham beat Manchester United at Old Trafford 3-0. So that would basically justify my claim that if it's Manchester United versus Tottenham in the Europa League final, then Tottenham is the overwhelming favorite because Tottenham is 3-0 against Manchester United this season. As a matter of fact, in one of the encounters, it was resulting in Manchester United being eliminated from the EFL Cup. So, and of course, Tottenham has not won a title since 2008. So, could you imagine Tottenham wins their first title since 2008 and they beat Manchester United for it? Well, that would be another story. So, Tottenham is just determined to win their first title since 2008. I believe Manchester United has actually won a title for 2 straight years. 2 years ago, they won the EFL Cup. Last year, they won the FA Cup. So Manchester United would actually love to actually go 3 straight years with a title triumph, and this time to win the Europa League. Kind of seems like 2 years ago they win the EFL Cup. Last year they beat Manchester City in the final to win the FA Cup. So it kind of seems like they win the EFL Cup. The next season they win a higher title, the FA Cup. So it's basically it's an improvement. But right now, if it's Manchester United versus Tottenham, I mean Tottenham again the overwhelming favorite, but Tottenham is determined to win a title for the first time in a very, very, very long time. So it could very well happen, but we'll have to wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, Into the Net FC is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify or if you're watching on YouTube, let me know in the comments what you think of Manchester United's incredible win. Also, please let me know, do you believe that Manchester United has a good chance of winning the Europa League? Do you believe that it could very well be Manchester United versus Tottenham in the final? And if that's the case, would you say that Tottenham is the overwhelming favorite, or could Manchester United actually pull it off? Let me know in the comments again if you're listening on Spotify or if you're watching on YouTube. Also, be sure to hit those subscribe buttons as well as those notification bells. That way, I know for sure that you're not going to miss out on any exciting upcoming content. Thank you all very, very much. Y'all have a good one. Happy Easter. And God bless.